Afrofish OG. What is up, everyone? It's Taylor back again on the Afro on the Scorp podcast, along with Black Scorpio and our guest of today, which is Moose, returning again. I appreciate him being here. How are you guys doing? So apparently he's drinking water. So we're gonna continue. We're gonna move on from introductions. I feel like a fool. And today we're going back. We're going back to the past a little bit. So back a long ass time ago, before for all the newer people here, before the era of just essays and stuff like that, we did have gaming TV shows. Which, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, some of them were pretty good, some of them were pretty bad. But during the time, and I'm gonna use this because I'm a boomer now when it comes to the gaming world, is that we had one called Tech TV that eventually became G4. For those who don't know, G4 was a gaming network. It was really big in like the early 2003 and so. So that kind of dates me a little bit, just how far it is. But it was pretty good. Actually, I enjoyed it personally. It's crazy because it had such a really up and down, really up and down life. You know what I mean? Life cycle. So for all you guys, I know I don't know if Moose knows much about it at all. Obviously, Scorpio is not from the U.S. and I think it didn't air in the U.S. So that actually surprised me a little bit. But we're actually gonna be going not just that, but we're going into some of the stuff that Scorpio has checked out as well. Stuff from like his past that he actually got a chance to watch as well. So be sure to tune in because this is going to be it's gonna be weird. But Moose, obviously you we live. I mean, you used to live pretty close by. But did you ever watch G4?
Bits and pieces. I didn't really have commercial. I didn't really have Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon channels like that. I only was able to do like PBS and stuff like that as a kid. So not really. Yeah. We were broke. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't want to say anything, but
no. Go right ahead. I was broke.
You sound broke. Yeah. But no, and that's hey, not everybody got a chance because I remember the only reason that I saw it G4 at all was because of my family or my it got like Dish when they had big with Dish and cable and shit, and it was one of the games of shows of the month, and I was so excited because I was like, oh, okay, this looks cool, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not disappointed. I thought it was dope as all hell. Personally being a gamer myself, seeing it was just awesome. They had some really cool shows. Like the show now, a lot I think people have seen it before. It's BattleBots. That's on TV. I think every once in a while. I don't know if it's still on anymore, but BattleBots was one where you play. They had like little robots and you got in the fight and stuff.
Yeah, like the little the blue and the red robot, right? The plastic. Yep. Yeah, the plastic set one. Click the button. Yeah, that I know the game.
So before BattleBots, there was one called Robot Wars, and it was actually up on Tech TV before it became G4. Right. I remember it was actually really, really dope. They had not just they would have let's say 2 robots fighting, but then they had what they called gladiators, which 4 just massive robots, all in the 4 corners. And so if you push them into a corner, it might get attacked by one of the gladiators. I thought it was the dopest shit ever. But they, a lot of times they did game reviews, telling news around. It was basically for me, it was the TV guide channel for nerds.
Nice.
If you guys remember that. But it was cool. It was cool. I personally highly loved it. And I know we're gonna check some of them out today. Scorpio, you had a different kind of gaming news outlet thing.
Yeah, one of the shows that we grew up with here is like we have like a lot of game shows as well, but one of them was more video and arcade top 10 where I am. Like we had the local TV network was YTV back in the day. So it was basically the kids show and yeah, just coming home and just watching video and arcade top 10, like just seeing how it aired from 97 to about 2006. So yeah, it's airing back in my day, like holy crap. And yeah, just a flashback of it, just your Sega, your 64, like back when gaming was just I'm gonna say back when gaming was just like kind of a baby, kind of like as the years progressed. Like, would it be fair to say that? Like compared to your G4?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I did watch that one that you showed me, and it was a little bit. It was kind of similar. Definitely similar. I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest, because it felt like it was the little more watered down version. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Because you wanted
again,
like G4 was like the hardcore kind of gamer nerd kind, and then the one you had reminded me of like the video game version of Double Dare 2000. If you guys remember that. But no, it looked good though. I liked it. It looked
I
pretty.
mean, it really was quite entertaining and quite enjoying, and like I said, like back in the early days for us, it still felt like that's like I want to say the 64 era, and then it feels like the gaming was just being born. Like compared to where it is now, it feels like that was the era of like when the good games started dropping. Like it's like okay, we're gonna make a name for ourselves, but then it started booming as like time went on, like to more where it is now. Like yeah, I would say around those eras were like the birth of like what gave us like esports and everything.
I would agree. I definitely think that like esports got big because of shows like this, and I'm not really going to be talking too much about I don't know when they brought back G4, because that is actually a story. I mean, we might talk about it, but that's actually a story and a half of how to basically just destroy the reputation of a network. Um, but that was definitely really shitty. I'll just say that for certain. But besides that, I agree. I mean, it probably got a lot of those games like esports started. It really brought like because there's I remember I sent you a few of them. Um and one of them I sent you was I think it was Icons. I don't know if I sent you Icons or not. Did I have you watch that?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay, so we'll check that out as well. Icons was actually a really interesting show. It was one of those where like it was basically when you see a lot of like TV shows like or like what those called those essays, those gaming essays.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see a lot of gaming essays now, that's what Icons kind of was at the time. Which is actually I think overall pretty dope. Like
I believe actually, hold on, I believe I have something here. It was the one that you said was about X Play. There was that one.
okay, yep, X Play was a huge one.
And then the whole Linkin Park thing.
Linkin Park and yeah. X Play was actually I would say X Play was one of the biggest, to be honest, because it was just one of those shows that people really enjoyed. Overall, it was good. Like it was probably arguably my favorite. Like it was one of those shows. It was funny, but like the way that they were able to put humor into like their own games. They had like kind of cool sections, like weird games from Japan and that kind of stuff, which was always kind of funny because the weird games from Japan now, like one of them was like Katamari Damacy, and that game turned out to actually be really successful. Like I've haven't played it myself, but it turned out to be a pretty big game, and I thought it was really, really cool. But I will pull up a couple of these here, and I will show you guys what I meant, because I'll show you what that meant to me, and then we'll play one of yours, Scorp, so we can
no problem.
see what's going on. So the one I'm going to look at, because there's a lot of icons. Okay, so even though they're big, I'm going to pause that here. But we're going to show you. I'll show you one of them coming up here. Just one moment. So the screen. I hate doing the screen share stuff. Like, it's so weird. So right here we got the icons for those who can see it, and so like they did start off with like little kind of crazy stuff all over, but like
while Galaxian and Space Invaders are kings of the arcade.
Oh, Space Invaders! I missed that game.
Phenomenon. It was like
We used to have a board Game Boy game of like all of Namco's best games. So it had Galaga, Galaxia, Mrs. Pac-Man, stuff like that. So
all the good retro games.
Yeah.
All the very much the good retro games.
Yeah, Dig Dug, Racers, the Grand Prix Racers, whatever. So
you know what's sad? I never actually played Dig Dug.
Really?
Yeah, never got a chance. I was very limited in the stuff I was able to play as a child.
Nah, I get that.
Like, my parents were very much the like, oh, it's gonna rot your brain kind of thing, which it did. Well,
yeah,
like,
I was about to say. I mean, they called it.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it didn't rot all my brain, just enough. But no, I mean, overall, it was a really cool. It was a really cool channel. Like, Icons is very much what you would expect from gaming essays. Like I said, you have, they talk about it. They do the backstory or like backstories of certain franchises. My personal favorite, they had even one about like it was like women in gaming. They had one about EA before that dumpster fire. But it's interesting learning from the early 2000s and then seeing it of now. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
And I think that's the part that always kind of always astounds me is like early 2000s versions of these. So let me show you. I'll bring up XPlay and I'll show you a little bit of why this one was so cool. XPlay from G4. I think it's still showing on here. So they had like all of them in order. You can find them all up here. But like this one's the Halo 2 episode.
We have a review of Halo 2.
And these two right here, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like these, my goal was to be on like G4. That was my goal as a child. Like it was 100% my goal as a child to be on G4, and the fact that I will never be able to do it now. I've had worse streams. Like, but they were, it was something different. I don't know, like, I mean, Moose, you said you didn't have anything like that, but like, when you were a child, when it came to like gaming stuff, what got you to like stick with these, play the games that you did?
Well, fun fact and backstory about me. I think I said this last time, or at least on the Dragon Ball stream, where we talked about Akira Toriyama's passing. I grew up in the church. My parents were pastors and leaders of churches and stuff like that. And my first gaming, I don't know if you count handhelds as systems, but my first my first gaming system was a Game Boy, like not the Game Boy Color, but like the flat Game Boy, the one that came out right before the SP, right?
Okay.
Me and my sister each got one. I got a blue one. She got like the clear one that you could see the wires and like the stuff on the inside.
Well, those are cool.
She had the cooler one, dude. She lost it like 2 months after owning it. She didn't care about it like at all. But she had that Game Boy, and her game was WarioWare, and my game was the Namco Museum.
Namco Museum.
Yeah, that was the one that had Galaga Galaxia. That was the one I was talking about a little bit ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it had, because they were all Namco game. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga Galaxia, so on and so forth. And so those were my first games. And then, if I remember right, a guy in college didn't want a PlayStation anymore. He had a PlayStation 1, and so he handed it down to me, and I got Crash Bandicoot 2, 3, Batman and Robin, like the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin. There was a PlayStation 1 game for it that I had.
Big oof.
Jurassic Park, and just a bunch of different like PlayStation 1 games, and he just like gave them to me. And that just kind of kick-started like my obsession with getting into video games. So
That's fair.
yeah. So like I didn't have very many like game related like newsletters or magazines or anything like that. I just, anytime friends told me about different games that came out, I just heard it through them and went from there. So
No, it makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, and like you didn't. It's not like you started off with bad games either. Like, Crash Bandicoot is absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, and like you can't. Like, if anyone's like, "Oh, Crash Bandicoot sucks," you're just like, "Yeah, I don't think we can be friends anymore."
Yeah, no, like Crash Bandicoot is like a game. Is like he's an underrated game icon. You know, everyone talks Mario, everyone talks Sonic, but it's just like, yo, Crash and Spyro were like game icons, and I feel like they don't get enough spotlight. You know?
Oh, 100%. No, 100%. Like Crash and Crash, Spyro. It's just people forget because it's been so long, but like they also just never hit the mainstream as like after it felt like afterwards. Like ever since the PS1 era, it was like, okay, we had the cool, we had Crash, we had Spyro, and then people wanted something different. They wanted, they got the Ratchet and Clank era, and you just never heard from the Crash era like ever again.
I feel like that's partly true because Crash did stay alive. They stayed alive for a while with Naughty Dog because like they had Crash 1, 2, and 3. Then they had the Crash Bash. Then they had Crash Nitro Racing. And then came like the 2010s, and that's where it went downhill. I feel
Right.
like 2010, because at 2010-ish, 2008, somewhere between 2008 and 2010, they Naughty Dog sold off the rights to Crash Bandicoot to Traveler's Tales, where they made a bunch of different games and a bunch of different stuff, and it ended really badly with a game called Crash of the Titans, where Crash would just take over these mutant monsters, and they changed the character designs, and it was bad. It was a really bad redesign.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like I never played those. I mean, I know later on, you had Vicarious Visions come through, and thank God for them. They pretty much revitalized Crash.
Oh yeah. No, the Crash Redux, the Redone series, and then Crash 4, Crash in Time or whatever. Though they did a great job with it. They did a really good job.
Oh, Crash 4 is actually really fun.
Yeah, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hard for a Crash game, but I did like it a lot.
Well, when you think about it, a lot of the Crash games aren't that easy. I mean, especially during that time period with the way that those games were played. I personally really loved Crash. But I didn't have a PS1, so I didn't get a chance to play it unless I was at a friend's place. Which always bothered me because my parents were such sticklers. Like it took me until 20 or like I would say, I don't know, 2008. Like I was a full on like a teenager, like before my parents would even let me get an M-rated game.
Yeah.
like it was like, oh well, this could be bad for your mental health or some stupid shit, and I'm just like, no, that's not how that works. But okay.
I mean, with my parents' excuse is that they didn't. Well, it wasn't really the over-the-top violence that they had a problem with. It was nudity. They didn't want any you show them God of War back when it came out and stuff like that. Yeah, no, fuck that. I would never be able to play another video game in my life unless it was rated E or C.
Oh yeah, and like it was always so interesting to me, that like I don't know, Scorp, if your parents were like this too, but like my parents were very much like, oh well, we just don't want you like going and repeating the stuff that they're saying, and it's like, yo, I'm like 15, like
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna repeat the same stuff anyways.
Like, have
Yeah,
you not
exactly.
watched South Park? Children will swear away from their parents any chance they get. The fuck?
Oh yeah, South Park was literally like, and that's what I loved about South Park was they were able to just kind of get away with stuff, and parents back then, I'm not saying I want to be like, oh, parents were just stupid, no, because that's immature, but like they just also didn't take the time to learn any of that either.
Yeah.
Like the point yes, is South Park, like for example, is South Park rated M for mature?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there a reason why it's rated M for mature? Yes. One, because it's actually a lot funnier and more important than people realize. Like it's just, I don't know. Like my parents were like super sticklers, and after a while, it just kind of got annoying. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Like it was like my parents were so hell bent on like not, like, oh well, we have the Legend of Zelda. Like I love some of the games we have to play, like Crash, or not just Crash, but like Ratchet and Clank and all them. Those are fantastic games. I will never take anything from them. But like if I wanted to play like Halo, good luck. Like Halo, but you're killing aliens. Like, okay. That's how my parents were. Like they were just like, we just don't want you to, turn out to be a deviant. That's a nice way to put it. But yeah, I think it was, and this is actually something that gets brought up. I don't know, like I want Scorp to kind of put it in because I think we've talked about this before, and it's so weird how like parents back then were okay with like violence in video games, but they weren't okay with nudity. Like it was interesting to me because it was like, y'all are okay with me bashing women's heads in, but I can't see titty. Like pick a lane. Like either.
No, I think it was more reversed, because obviously they're the ones that said, well, not them, but that generation said, oh, but the violence is what breeds. And it's like, in a video game, yeah, there's going to be violence everywhere because that's what makes it fun. But in reality, I mean, kudos to the stupid kids that thought they could steal cars and they're performing GTA styles, but shit, kid, you're going to die no matter what. It's kids like that screw everything, and that's why I would prefer to have the nudity versus the violence. So
right. And, I think the thing too is like it was always interesting to me how many how many of like parents were just like, oh my god, there's so much nudity here, and you're like, but it's not that bad. Yeah, but why would my child want to see that? Because they're curious. Like, I mean, it was always, I don't know. I always found that weird to me that parents were so okay with one but not the other.
But yeah, it is weird. Just like now, it's like when you could tell who's been from that time, when let's say you're playing Baldur's Gate and all of a sudden a scene comes on where you're getting romanced, and one of their parents walks in and they're like all flustered and they gotta like shut the TV.
Right.
Versus them killing, because it's more like you're more embarrassed that, hey, they're having sex on screen.
Right. Well, yeah, Mass Effect made that big that huge too. It was like Mass Effect because it was like, oh my god, like, you could have intercourse with one of the NPCs, and that's just terrible. But then you look at like the movies and stuff, and you're like, yo, how are you gonna sit there and say that this is bad, but then look at one of the movies that you're like promoting, and it's just no. Like my parents were like, yeah, we're not okay with this, but you're okay with me watching Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is like, oh, it's a Disney movie. Like,
Okay, I've got my own 2 cents on that. So, like when I was in high school, me and my best friend would watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? Great show, and it was on Netflix. My dad came through watching as him and I are watching an episode, and it's when one of the higher ups is trying to like say, "Hey, I can get you into the inner circle," and he's talking to Major Armstrong's sister, General Armstrong, right? I don't know if you guys watch Full Metal Alchemist or not.
yeah, I've seen Full Metal.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
own the
some of it.
series.
I haven't seen all of it, but I do know who Full Metal. I do know who Armstrong is.
Okay, so his older sister is a general, and someone higher up than her was just like, "Hey, I can get you immortality. All you have to do is like, have sex with me." Like he's implying that. And my dad walks in right there in the middle of this. He's just like, "Why are you watching this? This is disgusting." And I'm just like, "Dad, you watched The Blacklist, where it's literally like 100 times worse. There is like none of this shit like being shown, but you've got a problem with this because it's in cartoon form." He was dead silent and then continued walking through. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, yeah, there's just nothing like I always thought it was funny how like parents would tell you not to watch blah blah blah, but it's like, oh, I'm gonna have you watch like I don't know, The Godfather or something, and I'm like, this is way worse.
Well, I think it's because of the fact that it's just like I feel like it's kind of a tactic because like they do this when it's right there, so it's just like, hey, this is what you're not supposed to do, and if you come into a situation like this, you're gonna remember this and think how my reaction would be if you did something like this. That's what I think. But
Yeah,
also on top
definitely
of
could
that,
be.
though, I feel like it's the South Park effect, where in Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, the movie, they were talking about how, like, the whole Blame Canada song was literally about them being like, "Hey, there's a rating here. Shouldn't we just be? Are we considered bad parents because of the fact that we're ignoring the rating that a studio and important people have said to make sure that our kids don't watch it?" No, just blame the people who made it.
That's so true though. My dad was like that when it came to like Naruto because he thought it was like so ridiculous that I'm watching a show about like ninjas. But I'm like, dude, you like we're watching like a show about for like people, like the hunters and shit, the hunting channel. So it's like you can't sit there and tell me that what I'm watching is fucking ridiculous when you're watching hunting channel.
Right? You're basically watching hunting streaming. Like, what up? It's your boy Big Hunter 69 going in trying to do an unbodying video.
Oh yeah. Like watch me unalive this deer and then you just, like it's honestly really funny because like, parents back then versus parents now. I mean, they see the difference because obviously a lot of times parents now are, they grew up with that kind of stuff. Like you're like, it's actually one that I'm surprised because I'm surprised they were able to get like, I don't know how to say it. They would get away with it, and it's fucking Married with Children. Like, I think the show is great. Don't get me wrong, but holy shizniz.
That show was amazing, and I loved it in every sense of the word.
Oh yeah, it's really good. It just always blew my mind that they were able to get away with so much stuff. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, I love Al Bundy, but this dude was a menace. And some of the stuff would not be able to be said now. Like the way that he talked to people, I mean, I think it was hilarious, but some people would be like, oh my God, it's terrible.
I feel like that a reason for that is because of the fact that this dude, like, everything bad happened to him. So because of that, like, they're just like, oh, he gets like major like a comeuppance by the end of the episode or something like that.
Oh yeah, the stuff that he says is always hilarious. Don't get me wrong, it's funny as hell. Like he would definitely like you're not winning an argument against Al Bundy. Like let's just make that crystal clear here. No one's winning an argument against this guy. Like, but I always felt it was always so strange that people would be so. I don't know. They were so like, can say stuff like Al Bundy, but then you said something, watch the show like Naruto, and God forbid.
Yeah, it's because it's all animation. Animation is always looked down upon. It's like everyone keeps on saying that like animation's a category when it's not a category for awards. It's a medium. But people look down on animation because they're just like, oh, it's only for children and like. Only really immature people. That's kind of why I hate Velma. Like the TV show Velma, is that they're just bashing on adults who watch cartoons, and I'm just like, y'all are making an adult cartoon. Who are you trying to? Who's your demographic here then?
I think the problem with Velma is they try to be like super like clever with it. You know what I mean? Like we know that people watch it, but we're going to be kind of, it feels like they're trying to be smart with it, and it's just not working. Because at the end of the day, Velma is just not a good show. Like, it didn't turn out well. People didn't like it.
No, but because of the fact it got so many views and people hate watched it, it got a second season. And I'm just
Which apparently was even worse from what I heard. I heard it actually Velma was even worse.
Honestly, you just got to stop. You just got to stop with this series. Like, just don't hate watch a show. Like, honestly, as much as Big Mouth has like cool concepts and stuff in it, I refuse to watch it, and I don't want to watch it because of how goddamn ugly it looks. I just fucking can't with that show.
I don't know Big Mouth. I've never seen it. It doesn't look good to me. Like, it looks kind of silly, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I just don't like the art style. I think that's weird. Honestly, I think I fucking hate the art style.
Yeah, that's the reason why I hate it so much, is that it's just like, it's ugly as all fucking get out. And there's just so much with it that like I can't stand it.
No, I can't either. I don't like the look of it. I refuse to watch it. Like, I won't. I guess I've just gotten to the point where if I don't like a show, I just don't watch it. I don't see the point of like trying to hate watch something.
Yeah, right.
Like, hate watching is so fucking stupid.
It's a dumb concept to me, and I don't get why like people do it. Like, it gives like pirate hate watch it, but don't watch it on the official platform so it doesn't get any views.
No, exactly. I don't know. Scorp, you ever hate watch something?
I can't say I ever have, because like I'm more stubborn. I'm more, if I don't like something, don't try to push it. I like like you said, if something looks ugly or doesn't capture my attention, I don't even bother with it at all. I just move on. Like,
no, exactly.
yeah, like Moose is saying, if you're gonna hate watch, might as well just pirate the version, because all you're doing is feeding them just to promote more of that trash. So yeah.
Like, it's and like we said before, hate watching is a very, I don't know, I find it so odd. I really do. Like, it's not worth your time. It's not worth your time. So yeah, like, why not only give them the money, but just give yourself the time of day. Like, for me, there's a lot of shows that there's shows that I might not like. I don't think I'm gonna like something. I just refuse to support it. Like, going out of your way to try to purposely watch it is just, it's stupid.
It's counterproductive, is what it is. Like, giving a show a chance, even though like you think you're not going to like it, that's one thing. Watching a show solely for the fact of like making fun of it on the official streaming site is just counterproductive, because it just messes with everything.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know. I think people need to be smarter Like, you know what I mean? They need to be smarter with it. Like, there's no purpose of trying to go check out something that you know you're not gonna like. Like, if you know in your heart that you're not gonna like, if you're not gonna like a show, don't waste your time. Because let's be honest, you have better things to do. There's a lot of shows like for example, there's a lot of Star Wars shows. There's some Star Wars shows that I just don't feel like I'm gonna like. Like Obi-Wan was one that I'm not a fan of Obi-Wan, so why would I go watch this? You know what I mean? So I just didn't watch it. But like, I don't know. I think people going out of their way is just kind of stupid.
Well, it's because of the fact that Disney is banking on everyone's love of Ewan McGregor and like the memes that came with it.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's why I don't know, man. I feel like it's so stupid. Like, because and you know what's funny is this actually ties in. As much as I wasn't going to talk about it, but this actually ties into a little bit with G4. And how the reason why it ended. So in the beginning, I'll try to give a quick history here. So G4 ended after it got merged with Esquire. It was called.
Okay.
Which was another company. It got I don't know if it got bought out or what, but it just like the other company had it and now they can't do it no more, right? So in like 2020, 2021, they were like, "Hey, we're so excited. We're bringing this back. We know you guys love it, blah, blah, blah." And people were like, "Oh my God, it's going to be so cool." You know, and I was like that too. I was like, "Fuck yeah." You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting my fucking G4 back. Let's do this, buddy. And I was stoked at the time. But like, then it came out and they had a lot of people there that I didn't know. Like, so like, first of all, like people like Adam Sessler, who was part of the original group, was there. Kevin Pereira, who was part of the original group, was on the original Tech of the show. He was on the remastered version or the redone version. But like people like Olivia Munn, who became an actress, she wasn't on the show anymore. Morgan Webb, who was the co-host of Adam Sessler, was not on the show anymore. You know, Kristen Holtz, Allison Hayslip, Chris Hardwood, all these people were just not on the show anymore. You know, and because they're not on the show, it does get a little difficult. Kind of like what you talked about before with like Shaolin Showdown, when only one voice actor comes back. You know, it's kind of weird. It doesn't feel good. So, so later on, you know, they had the show. They had like you've heard of The Completionist? You guys ever heard of him?
Yeah, the guy that tries the 100% game trophies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% a game and all that.
So apparently he was one of the people on there. And then they had this girl named Frost who was on there. I have no clue. I've never heard of her before. She's like she does like announcing for like League of Legends and shit like that, I think. But I personally never heard of her, right? Mm-hmm. So they have them on there. One of the things that happens is that like they kind of okay, but like one of the problems I think with G4 was at the time, you know, it was the only gaming stuff around. Now you have these kind of things all over. So it's kind of hard, you know, for people to want to get invested. Like, why would I want to invest in something that you know, I can go watch for basically free? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love icons. I love game reviews. I can go look up online game reviews.
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of sucked in those regards. Well, then later on, they had this big thing where it was like, you know, they talked about sexism in gaming, which is that a subject to talk about? Sure, why not? I don't think it's a bad subject to talk about. However, part of the problem was that I think it was just done poorly. Like, it seemed like it came out as like more of a rant. And because it came out as a rant, a lot of people who were watching the show were like mad, and it lost a lot of viewership and kind of almost tanked its series. On top of the fact that it was just an unoriginal little fucking channel. And I think that's part of the problem is like, it sucks for me because as a fan of the series, it died horribly. But that's why I said it goes to show how to kill a network. Like, it didn't help that like people like Adam Sessler, who was on the station, who was on the show for a long time, went on like a full fucking rant about how he's like, I've actually never cared about video games. I've actually hated you guys. Like, it's really fucking weird. Like, and I was like, yo, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So basically the channel died, and I don't see it coming back ever again. But like, it bums me out because like, fuck, dude, I would buy that network in a heartbeat.
Well, I think, I don't know. I feel like that there are a lot of just negativity nowadays that just go around with video games. Like those influencers who go around on the street and just like asks random people like, "Hey, what's your red flag?" or like, "What do you think of this topic or the other?" or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of them did this one video, was just like, which would you rather have? A boyfriend who's an alcoholic or a boyfriend who's a gamer? A lot of women said alcoholic.
Yeah,
And
that's weird.
I'm just like, that's concerning. There's like, we'd rather have someone who's like actually, not obsessed with video games and spend all their time doing that. And they're just like, video games are like an addiction, it's a drug, and it's just like.
Then like at the same time, you're saying that like alcohol is not like yeah, that's really weird.
Right, it is.
I hate that shit, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. Scorp, I'm sure you're kind of the same way with me on this. I personally hate those fucking question things.
Yeah, they
Like,
don't make
you
any
rather
sense.
have me or a PS5, and it's like
how about you with a PS5?
or like just
Yeah.
why would you ask a question like this?
My girl got me the PS5, so I don't gotta worry about
Yeah, that was my fucking gift. My gift to her was a ring, and the gift I got back was a PS5. I think that was a good exchange.
Yeah, good trade.
It was a very good trade. But like, yeah, I don't understand. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't understand the whole not PS, I was gonna say PS5. I don't understand the whole hatred for gamer kind of thing. I can see if the gamer was like a My Hero fan, then maybe. But that's because My Hero fans, I think, have one of the worst reputations I think I've ever seen in game in anime and anything at all. But I don't understand like all the bad thing about a gaming, because it's like half the time, the people who are gaming, they're not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like, they're not doing anything bad or nothing. It's just they're just gaming. And some people just can't handle that. Like, they can't handle that someone is dedicated to just playing a game and bettering themselves in it. That's why I love like when I'm playing Elden Ring. Like, the people who get mad at, like, oh, you spend all your time playing these games. I think if you are spending like a fuck ton of time playing games, then yes, there is something that you might want to change.
Like your career path.
Right. Like, I was watching this one dude, and he was like saying how he's going to be a streamer, right? I was watching, it was like the Caleb Hammer guy, and this guy was like, well, I'm a streamer. He's like, yo, but you don't have rent. You know what I mean? Like, you're not paying your rent. You're using your credit cards to pay for rent. And he was like, he's like, well, it's not, like, I mean, it's hard. I'm stream, like, if I'm streaming, it's hard when I'm streaming. And he's like, yeah, but you're not making any money. Like, I get those kind of gamers, and I think everyone here would agree. Nobody likes those kind of gamers.
No.
They give a bad rep to pretty much everybody else in the community.
Well, yeah, but that's the stereotypes that everybody wants to shoot for. The people that don't like gamers, they go for those because they're just like, hey, you're the perpetuating the stereotype. It's like that one Karen who like tries to find why vaccinations cause autisms, and then they find like one source that says that. It's just like, I'm right. All the 500 ones that said I was wrong are completely wrong. I'm right. So,
well, it's because vaccine has the letter A in it, And you know what else has the letter A?
Autism. Yeah, very true.
So I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not saying that I'm ahead of the game, but
okay, there was this one post that I saw that it was like a Karen was just like, my niece died because of her vaccinations. Oh my gosh, what happens? Was it an allergic reaction? It's just like, no, the metals inside the vaccination attracted a car like a magnet and it hit her. And I'm like,
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what do you? Hold on. You got how? Do you get like where? Okay, so now look what you did to me. Like, the brain is not the logic is connecting poorly. So you're telling me that the reason why your oh, you are a dumb motherfucker. Like
damn, I broke him.
Oh my god.
I won the game, everybody. Woo!
Like that just that makes the sense of zero. Like that's bad. I don't get that. I don't get so stupid. Like the amount of copium
they want as long as it's within their peer review. And they're willing to do anything to make it look like if they're wrong, the thing that they're wrong about is worse.
At that point, it'd be better just to stop talking.
Yeah, it would be, but we unfortunately people spend too much time talking and not enough time listening.
I just yeah. I don't head is hurting.
Yeah, I won the game today. Woo!
Well,
10 points for me.
Like that just it's so ungodly dumb. Like I don't understand how some people have this brain power of like, and I'm sure she said it with her chest too.
Yeah,
like she was proud of it. Like, oh man, I just know for a fact this is the fucking truth. Like, man, dude, this is oh my god.
I don't know, dude. I swear to God, people are just getting crazier and okay. So you want to know the ones that really get me? Are give me a second.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm dealing with my dog and he's being an ass right now. So
no, you're good.
But yeah, no. But what I was going to say is that and there he is. Sorry.
You're good.
That's an extra opinion added.
Well, apparently the dog's broken too because holy shit.
Right.
Like, how do you? Oh man. Like I don't even want to. Like I'm not big. Like talking about vaccines and stuff. But some of the shit you fucking hear is so ungodly stupid. Like I saw one of them saying this lady was like, "Oh, my daughter got the vaccine and now she can't walk forward anymore."
Well, that's because she birthed her out of her ass and not even out of her canal.
Obviously, no, you're absolutely correct on that one. Like, I just can't. My daughter can't walk forward. Has she tried? Like, forgive me for being, for being such a deviant, but holy shit, balls bang. Like, this just. There comes to a point where at some point you had to sit there and I made a full sentence. And this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. The ones that get me, though, are like the ones who are freaking out about the solar eclipse that happened a little bit ago. Like, a lot of people were freaking out that it's just like, oh, the solar eclipse is going to happen. It's solar flares.
Sorry, we have some technical difficulties. But
we got one opinionated fan.
Right. I know the feeling. Like I have a dog too. But yeah, it's just it's so dumb. It's like when you hear some of the gaming hot takes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but they were just like, oh, the solar flares will take out the satellites and we'll be completely in the dark and all that stuff. My mom freaking believed that. She's just like, so what's your guys' post-apocalyptic plans when the world goes down because of the solar eclipse?
And you're like, Mom, it's early. Go to bed. like there just comes to a point in life where you have to sit there and think to yourself, I there's no way I can believe this.
Well, I just like the one like during the solar eclipse when they're like, yeah, the sun it's gonna be so bright that it could destroy video cameras, everything, you know, your eyeballs and everything. So don't look directly into the sun. And then you hear everybody, yeah, the emergency wards are all filled with people that are going blind because they decide to look up at the sun.
Right.
It's like okay, dumbasses. So let's get this straight. If you want to act like a chicken, you know, when it rains, put your head back, open your mouth, and just stare up into the sky as water is filling your throat. You're not going to drown.
There just comes to a point where at some point in life you have to sit there and think to yourself, I
How were you born?
might have not been the smartest person in the room.
I would have just clearly thought it's like, and you've been dropped how many times?
Enough.
Like clearly not enough to be shown that you were not a football when you came out.
Not a football. That's not a football. And that's the thing that got me was like, I'm just sitting here listening to people talk about the vaccine, and I have, because I work with seniors, so it's like they have like either Fox News or CNN being like, oh, they're we have a real problem here, and you're like, oh, okay, well, what's the problem? Well, the Democrats are saying that the vaccine is going to cause blindness if you look up into the sun in the end of February.
But they forget that they were around before that shit even happened, like before there was even Morse code.
Right.
Like, I would have been like, well, back in your day, were you not using stone chisels?
It's just something that just makes me cringe. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's all it does. It just makes me cringe.
It's just stupidity. Like, I feel like the stupid pandemic opened up more dumbassery, like, towards people. Like, they clearly lost all their intelligence being cooped up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, their intelligence dropped to, like, -0. That's how smart it was. They were like, what happened? Well, I mean, the scary thing about it is when, the you're like, okay, so what is it? Like, well, it's really horrible. Oh, okay, well, what is it? Well, the Democrats don't want them to do nothing. And I'm like, what is it?
It just is what it is. But what is it? We need to know.
Like the what is it? What is it? Like, what is it? Like, what is the problem? Well, if they just like, and I'm like, when I work with seniors, it's always funny too because they're like, well, if the Democrats would just let let Trump be in, and I'm like, yo, I really don't give a fuck. Like, my question is, what is it? Like, I love elderly people. I've worked with them for a long time. But holy fuckle nuggets. They don't always make sense sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, especially when it comes to gaming, because yes, people who are still like, gaming is gonna hurt your brain. It's gonna make you the stupid. And, like, joke's on you, bitch. I was dumb to start with. Like, is it mean? Absolutely. Is it kind of factual? Debatable.
100%.
Like, but I don't know, man. All I know is that, like I said, like, like the gaming, like gaming boomers. That's what I should start calling them now. Just gaming boomers. There's boomers and then there's gaming boomers. Like it's kind of like since Moose will know this. There is what we like to call in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. They call them Yu-Gi boomers.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, they are some of the most degenerate fucking people on that fucking game. Like, I wish I was kidding, but they're the types to like be like, "Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh sucks now. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh back then was the greatest. I had the best deck back then. Blah blah blah." And then like you're like, "No, let's be honest. You fucking didn't."
Your greatest deck had like 500 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon that you could play, and then just like, there's a reason that freaking Kaiba made tournament rules that effectively happened in the game afterwards, because motherfucker, he's just like, yeah, you can only have 3 copies of each card, and you can only summon like 1 by sacrificing 2 monsters, depending on how high the star count is.
Oh yeah, like there is nothing more annoying than the Yu-Gi boomers. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I've seen the classic fans page.
Yeah,
like it is degeneracy.
it's a cesspool.
It is. It's terrible.
Now I will say that there are times where I do agree that it's like I miss the days where you didn't have like a textbook and a half of things to read on the card effect. Like simple effects were one thing, but it's like you gotta read some of the effects now with a freaking magnifying glass.
Well, and you know the thing, because I will counter this a little bit and saying they're actually usually a lot of times not that bad. And for the most part, the problem-solving card text isn't that terrible. It's just that a lot of older Yu-Gi-Oh players have the reading comprehension of a fucking third grader.
Yeah, there is the running joke that if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, you don't know how to read. You're on par with Dragon Ball fans. I hate to break it to you. Dragon Ball fans don't even know how to read their own material. What makes you think they'll read others?
You hear the thing saying that people are saying that Goku is not planetary?
Dude, there are people who are saying that the freaking fact that Dragon Ball Super had Goku not kiss his own wife, and then it's just like, you have 2 kids. How? You know?
It makes you wonder.
It really does. But no, it's just like people are saying Goku's not planetary. He's never had any like planetary feats. Like, granted, he has never destroyed a planet. That is very true. He's never destroyed a planet.
But we know that he is planetary. I mean, because you know who destroyed a planet?
Vegeta.
Frieza. Vegeta.
Fucking technically though, actually, I take back what I said. Goku did destroy a planet. During his fight with Beerus, the shock waves of them punching caused planetary destructions during their fight. It caused
it to crack the fucking multiverse of the universe. The universe was getting destroyed because of their fight.
And
so that's why I don't understand.
Yeah, it's 7 times bigger than our known universe. And yet, freaking half of that freaking effect was from Goku. And that wasn't even his strongest shit.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. Like, that's the thing that got me. I was actually like sitting there like staring off into the fucking space. I'm not gonna lie to you, because that was just such a stupid fucking comment. And I was like, how does Goku is not planetary? I was like, Piccolo blew up the moon in the beginning of Z.
For real.
Like, Frieza in his lowest form destroyed a planet. So please, once again, tell me how he's not planetary. Like, you fucking stupids. So, like, I don't know. Like, I don't like that. I know that's a debate I probably shouldn't get into. But
yeah, that's a can of worms that like.
It's weird because it just kind of feels like, I don't know how the fuck you're gonna say Goku's not planetary. Like,
it's
because I see one saying that Naruto isn't planetary.
Yeah, like the most he's done is destroy a moon. Like,
Yep.
granted, a moon's not a well. Okay, more accurately, he beat somebody who destroyed a moon, but he himself has never destroyed a moon.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, he's never destroyed a moon before. Which, I mean, fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Naruto's is a little debatable. And however, I think that also lowballs if you say that he's not planetary, then that means that you really that really changes the dynamic in this like who is the strongest thing.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. So I saw an interesting question, right?
Okay.
It's a versus battle question because, of course, nerds, we don't have anything better to do but pit characters that we like against each other.
Yeah, we're kind of masochists that way.
Kaido versus the 5 Kage.
Kaido. Oh, versus the 5 Kage?
Yep.
I'll
be right back. Give me a sec.
Okay. I might have to think about this one. Sorry, Scorp.
No, it's all good. I'm just enjoying the conversations.
Oh yeah, like you're just kind of sitting back.
No,
this isn't necessarily your forte, but
no, it's all good. We like I contributed here and there. I feel like I'm contributing less, but I don't know. I feel like I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm the punching bag when needed.
You're not a punching bag. You're fine. You take your stuff too literal. You can't go punching bag.
What? I don't take myself too literal.
Oh, by the way, I also wanted to know too, like, explain to me how that the fucking convention was.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. It was just like, so we got there and they had their opening ceremonies in one building, and then we walked across to the other. There was a lot of cosplayers, which was amazing. A lot of you would have been happy with the amount of people that were just as JJK fans, because I had a feeling it was JJK because of the whole outfits. I feel like it's like the school outfits, but then when you start seeing like the checkered colors, like especially like the green and the black is the most common one. I haven't started JJK yet, but other than that, I got to see some like I was mostly there with the intent of trying to look for some Final Fantasy stuff. There was one of the music composers who was doing the panels for Final Fantasy 14 and 16.
Oh, really?
And she was doing the performance for one of them. Welcome back, Moose. And and then when I ran into the voice actor, even though it's the English voice actor, you know what? It's still great. Like I got to get Sebastian, like the voice actor who played Sebastian on Black Butler, his autograph. It was just that made my day. That just threw it over the top as well.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like,
and I didn't even have to pay. It was free. But like, it's not about the price. It's just the fact that again, I actually got an autograph from one of my favorite animes.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like I know, like I mentioned before, Anime 414 is coming this year for the first time, and like Sean Schimmel is there. They got the dude who plays fucking Master Chief's voice is there. Like I need to get a picture.
You have to get an actual picture with Master Chief himself.
Like that's just awesome. But cool. To go with your question, right? So that one's really interesting to me because I first thing I thought of is like when you're like, okay, so do you think Kaido could punch a hole in the Susanoo?
Yeah, I really do.
Why is that?
Okay, so the thing about Kaido is that his whole thing is brute force. Like the first time he met Luffy went off on him. Like freaking he thought Kaido accidentally killed his friends because he was drunk. And so Luffy went Gear 3, Gear 4, all the gears went off as best as he could. This is pre-Gear 5. And he did everything he could, hitting Kaido with his hardest. And Kaido one-shot him. Knocked him the fuck out in Luffy's strongest form, and he's faster than Future Sight. Like, it was said during the fight with Kaido that I'm using my Future Sight to the best of my ability, and I could not see this. I could barely see this man move. So yeah, I do believe when it comes to sheer raw strength and ability, Kaido could easily get through the Susanoo.
Okay.
Like, also, when the perfect Susanoo came about, Madara destroyed a mountain. Kaido can do that like at any time he wants to with his blast breath. So yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I don't know enough about Kaido, so it's a little hard.
Okay.
But from what you're saying, that sounds pretty.
So,
legitimate.
with that being said, Kaido's hobbies are different ways of suicide. Like, the first time we officially see Kaido in the manga, he was up in a sky island, which is like over 10,000 meters up.
Yeah.
Jumped off it, got up, and then fought like 5 different pirate crews at the same time. Like, he literally got up from a crater and was just like, damn, that didn't even itch me. Then he saw the crews in front of him. He's just like, all right, who wants to fight?
Yeah, that's pretty nuts, actually.
Yeah, no, he, like, the running joke with him was that in a one-on-one fight, bet on Kaido. That's kind of his whole shtick. Also, he was able to take his own mountain-destroying breath blast and just shrug it off like it was nothing.
Oh, when he fought Luffy.
Yeah. Like the whole like funny image when he like reverse Uno'd him, he took it, got covered in cinders, and then just like as a gag, and then just shook it off. Oh, his body can also withstand magma, so that takes down the Mizukage and her Geki Genkai.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is he fast enough?
Oh, 100%. Because Luffy was able to dodge, like at the start of the 2-year time skip, Luffy was able to dodge laser beams going light speed, and then was able to attack the person who shot them. And he said, I'm not like before Gear 5, he said, I'm not able to see this man as he's coming. Like, Future Sight, freaking my strongest observation abilities, I can't see this guy coming at all. So, like, he fast as fuck.
Okay.
Even in his so Luffy has an attack called the Gum Gum Hydra, where basically he has his fists fly at their fastest capacity. He has like no control of them. It just like bounces off randomly and goes as fast as they possibly can. And Kaido, in his biggest form as a dragon, dodged all of them. Because Kaido as a dragon is like, what was it? Freaking almost 1,000 feet long, something like that. He's like a huge motherfucker, and he was just dodging every single one of them. So,
okay, yeah, that's definitely impressive. I actually did not know that. Yeah, if he's fast enough. I don't know the speed length of like. I don't think they're light speed in One Piece. I know they can react because only certain ones, I guess, can react to Kizaru because it seems like Kizaru is light.
Yeah, he's literally light speed.
But
so, the thing about that is that what was I going to say? Is that Kizaru is light speed, and because of that, he's like considered to be the fastest, if not one of the fastest characters. But Luffy Gear 5 is able to dog him, like beat the absolute brakes off of him. And spoiler warning, I guess I should have said. And Kaido lasted a lot longer against Gear 5 Luffy than Kizaru did. So I'm saying Kaido is at least either on par with the guy who's able to move at light speed, or at least he is durable enough to deal with people who can go light speed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, the only people who have been able to hurt him, he said that there have only been about 7 people on Earth who have been able to hurt him, and only because of the fact they have advanced armament hockey, which is the thing that turns their skin black when they go to punch somebody, or advanced Conqueror's hockey, which they use to also coat their attacks. So, unless you got those, you can't hurt Kaido.
Yeah, I can see that then. Damn, that's nutty. But alrighty, everyone. I know this one kind of got off the rails.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll definitely correct it over too. I might make a separate one too, also talking about G4 as well. It just this one is, but definitely I want to do another anime one coming up here shortly too.
All right. Well, next week is
we'll
my
do one
short
with-
week.
Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah.
next week and also Scorp, we can do one with news and stuff as well coming up here.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna talk to a couple other people, seeing if they're down. For one. So, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see if they're okay with it. But alrighty, everyone. I appreciate you all sitting there listening to the rambles. But with all that being said, I'm Taylor from Afro Fish OG, and you guys have a great one.